this commercial break. NRI machining. The difficult we do right away, and the impossible will take a little longer. Holbrook's Hometown Pharmacy is an independent retail pharmacy offering prescriptions, a full line of over-the-counter medication products, and gifts for family and friends. The pharmacy offers in-store pickup, drive-through pickup, and delivery. Contact us by phone at 740-259-0041 or visit our Facebook page. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here and we are ready to roll. We got the 410 sprints. I'll take my headphones off one more time, one more again, as they'd say down in Louisiana. So we are ready to roll. These guys are in practice, about to get out here and qualify. The 410 sprint cars at USA International. We have, let me check real quick how many laps we do have. It will be a 35 lap event. Invert the top two. So, ladies and gentlemen, they are out there qualifying right now. We are going to go in the dirt Anarchy's intro, and then we will be right back. Come around turn number 4. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who's going to take the checkered? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we went to the replay screen. Not sure why, but we'll jump over to the sponsors. These guys are out here on the track right now. We're going to talk about the sponsors for a minute while they're out there qualifying. Your sponsors for Dirt Anarchy do include Anarchy Custom Wraps and Designs, 06 Racing Productions, Buckwheats Customs, 4M Customs, Drill and Spike Designs, and the caution sponsor, NRI Machining. So, wouldn't be able to do anything that we do without the sponsors on the page. Big shout out to Brandon Starnes for going out and putting in the footwork and traveling the miles to get these sponsors for the league. Brandon's done an excellent job operating the league, and it's just been fantastic for us to come out here and run. So I'm glad that I get to come out here with all the guys, watch everybody grow while I'm broadcasting the races, get out and race with the guys throughout the week whenever I do have time. Haven't had a lot of time lately because I've been so busy doing other things, but we're going to get there eventually. My sponsors do include Blueprint Event Rentals and Holbrook's Hometown Pharmacy. So everybody's out there qualifying right now. I do believe one of the fast guys in the league, Matthew Croak, he is out here tonight. So qualifying with a 17.667. I think that's his first lap. Might be able to catch him while he's out here on the track. There he is, Matthew Croak, crossing the line at 140 mile an hour with a 17.168. That's going to put him in third place. Your top qualifier for tonight, and they are dangerously close. Falcon Smith out front with a 17.140. Ian Humphreys close in second place with a 17.141. In third place, you have Matthew Croak with a 17.168. In fourth place, Tony Martin with a 17.588. Chris Watkins with a 17.592. Nasworthy 17.603 and Clendenin 17.821. Fantastic job out of the drivers. If you guys did see the late model race, which was right before this, excellent job out of Connor New getting the win over there. Second place went to Travis Gardner, and third place went to Sage Luther. So Dirty Anarchy is out here in the sprints. They are ready to get it rolling. Cannot wait for everything to get done. Give me just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I have an important message. All right, we are back. So, sorry about that. Qualifying is wrapped up, I do believe. We're just waiting for them to advance the session. I had to pull my stuff up on Facebook, and I ended up getting the text message from somebody I had to answer, so sorry about that. But we are back. Sprint cars, 410s are out here at USA International. They just advanced the session, so we are bumping up into heat race number 1. SDK, for some odd reason, will not load still. I can try to pull it up again right now, but I doubt it's going to happen. I'll just try it real quick while we're here just to see if I can get it to pull up. But there it is. It's pulled up, but it goes away for some reason. Not sure what's wrong with it. I've got something messed up on SDK. I'm gonna have to figure it out, but I promise it'll be figured out by next week. Sorry it's not figured out this week, but we will be able to get it later on. All right, we'll take a look at the chopper view one more time so we can get the grid lined up and in order. Starting out on your pole position, heat race number 1, Falcon Smith. This will be the only heat race we have tonight. Starting outside pole, Ian Humphreys. Starting in third place, inside row number 2 is Matthew Croak. Starting in fourth place, outside row number 2 is Tony Martin. Starting in fifth, inside row number 3, Chris Watkins. Sixth, outside row number 3 is Matthew Nasworthy. And rounding out the end of your field is Chase Clendenin. Back here popping wheelies, Lightning McQueen. Sprint cars have a ton of power, but that also means tire wear is a huge, important role whenever it comes to these. So we're going to see how these guys fare. Falcon Smith was the one running the fast line in qual. Matthew Croak's usually a fast sprint car driver, but USA International, anything can come out of anybody. Ian Humphreys, honestly, I can't say Falcon Smith was the blistering fast. Ian Humphreys was 1/1000th of a second off of him. So we're going to see how this race goes. Guys are out here on the track. Give me a little drink of water there. I am thirsty. I'm telling you, that video will be posted up here either tonight or tomorrow. It'll probably be tomorrow, but that 50-lap race that I did in those go-karts beat me to death. I mean, absolutely worn out. I went to the heat race, and where my visor sits on my helmet, it sits a little low, and I don't have very good ventilation inside of my helmet. So I kept breathing real heavy, and I was fogging up my helmet, so I had to kind of tone it back a little bit, and it was just it was absolutely just throwing me for a loop because my visor was getting fogged up, and it was just not good. So I was a little bit out of breath by the end of that race. But the 50-lapper, I got my breathing a little more under control and had a good time. But these guys are running around turn number 3 and turn number 4. USA International has the terms written on the wall. Thank them for that. But the green flag flies. Falcon Smith, great driver in the sprint cars, out there in the front. Matthew Croak working his way up. Oh, we got one on the wall. Oh, boy, he is on the wall hard in heat race number 1. Holy cow. Matthew Croak going to make his way out front. Falcon Smith going to drop back into second. Ian Humphreys, he's got second now. Croak's going to move back to third. Not Croak. Falcon Smith's going to move back to third. Croak with a good lead early on. Falcon Smith went from first to third. Tony Martin making his way around the high side of the racetrack. The number 22 car. We'll take a peek back into the transfer spot. Tony Martin is holding on to it right now, and he has Chris Watkins hot on his heels. Transfer spots here. This is a 10-lap event. We're 4 laps in. Had to hit it twice. Didn't see it the first time. Tony Martin moving up, trying to make a move on Falcon Smith. Tony Martin getting a little bit shook up, having to check up for Falcon. Tony Martin in the 22. We're focusing on the transfer spot right now. Chris Watkins trying to make a move on the number 22. Taking the high line. Going to try to get the run here. Maybe get a little bit of a run on the straight stretch. Tony Martin looking to get a run himself. Moving up in for the slider. Tony Martin moving up into third. Matthew Croak out front. Ian Humphreys in second. Tony Martin in third. And Smith going to move back into fourth place. Take back at the transfer spot. Falcon Smith. We'll go ahead and go up here and check out your leader. Has a huge lead. I do not know how long of a lead that is, but he's got a straight stretch on second place. Matthew Croak does. Quick here tonight, absolutely fast. Didn't have that good of a qualifying run, but definitely putting down the juice in the heat race number 1. Ian Humphreys, the number 53, making his way around the low side. Tony Martin right there in third. Chris Watkins going to move up into fourth place, and Falcon Smith is going to round out the top 5. Transfer spot is locked in with Chris Watkins. White flag is out. We will jump back up to the leader. Croak with an easy heat race number 1 win. Takes the checkered Matthew Croak out front. Ian Humphreys going to come in second place, the number 53 car. Tony Martin in third. Chris Watkins in fourth. And Falcon Smith is going to round out the top 5. Got a new follow. OGXFAL has followed. Thank you very much for the follow, man. Thank you so much. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to check out the sponsor page while they go out there for the warm-up. So, we are getting ready to announce some sponsors here for the page. Sorry about that, I was reading something on my screen. Warm-up, drivers are out there right now on the warm-up, but their Anarchy, you see up in the top left of the page, their sponsors do include Anarchy Custom Wraps and Designs. That's Michael Mitchell. Also does 4M Customs. Michael Mitchell. 06 Racing Productions. That's David Garman. Buckwheat's Customs. Adrenaline Spike Designs. Chris Watkins. And NRI Machining. Matthew Nasworthy and his father. If it wasn't for all the sponsors that support the league, we would not be able to do what we do. So, big thanks to all of them out there for helping out the league, helping out Brandon, helping out all the drivers that are in the league as well. And my sponsors do include Blueprint Event Rentals and Holbrook's Hometown Pharmacy. Blueprint's owned by Trey Cunningham, it's my brother. He does ceremonial tents all around the local area. He does an absolutely fantastic job. He does weddings, graduations, all kinds of things. So if you need anything, you can look him up on Facebook, Blueprint Event Rentals. And Brandon Holbrook, my brother-in-law over at Holbrook's Hometown Pharmacy, does an absolutely fantastic job providing any pharmaceutical need to everybody in the local area. So if you guys need any pharmaceutical needs, go and hit up Brandon Holbrook. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be jumping back over to the live screen. Drivers are still out there on the warm-up. Heat race winner, excuse me, goes to Matthew Croak. Croak started in third place, worked his way up into first. So, with the invert 2, that means Ian Humphreys is going to be your pole sitter for the feature, and Matthew Croak is going to start outside pole. Don't know if that's going to make too big of a difference. Matthew Croak seems to be pretty quick here tonight, but that will be the layout of the field when they do first go out. So we'll watch these guys turn some laps. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, checkered flag is out for the warm-up. These drivers are getting ready to come out onto the track for tonight's A-Main. We are at USA International Lakeland down in Florida. 35-lap event, invert 2 in the front. That means outside pole goes to inside pole goes to outside pole. So, drivers are out in staging, ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dirt Anarchy 410 sprints. We are going to go to the chopper view so we can get the grid laid out real quick because we don't have SDK laid out. So Ian Humphreys is going to be your pole sitter for tonight, starting out on pole, the number 53 machine, I do believe. Ian Humphreys starting outside pole. The number 2 machine, Matthew Croak, starting in third place. It's going to be the number 22 car, Tony Martin. Starting in fourth is Chris Watkins. Starting in fifth is Falcon Smith. Starting in seventh is Chase Clendenin. Starting in 8th, I do believe, I might have skipped some numbers there. No, I didn't. Is Matthew Nasworthy. Go to TV1, take a look around the field. Ian Humphreys, number 53. You see him right there on your screen. He is going to get the race underway here tonight. I do believe that Matthew Croak got an EOL, I think, for the number of wins that he's had over the last couple weeks. So Dirt Anarchy does a little bit of a different thing. Whenever drivers get a lot of wins, they kind of want to make it fair for everybody, so they put the faster driver in the rear of the field, kind of make it a little bit harder for them to work their way up to the field. Makes it a little bit interesting for the viewers to watch too, because you got the fastest guy on the track all the way in the back of the race, and makes it a little challenging. So it's always fun to do, always fun to watch, but the drivers are out here ready to make their way around the track. If you guys haven't already, go and check out the karting video. There will be a new one up. We had a huge special event race, 4th of July race at CJ Speedway. Man, it was a fantastic show. A lot of good racing, a lot of different leaders throughout the entire night. It was an absolute show. I mean, it was fantastic to put on. I was so glad to be a part of it and be out there. I had a great job, great time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 410 sprints, Dirt Anarchy. You guys see the drivers out on the track. Give them a hand. They're about to put on a show for you. The number 53, Ian Humphreys, is going to come around turn 3 and turn 4. Pace truck's going to dip off in the infield, and the green flag is going to fly. There they go. Ian Humphreys out front. Chris Watkins in second place. Tony Martin in the number 22 machine working the outside line in third. Matthew Croak, a little bit of a wheelie in the back. The 38 of Chris Watkins, Adrenaline Spike Design, sitting right there in second place. See him right here through the catch fence, moving up into first. What a highlight, throwing a slider, getting it up there. The 38 of Chris Watkins is. We got a caution. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to our caution sponsor. We will be right back.
Brought to you by NRI Machining, located in Macon, Georgia. The difficult we do right away, the impossible will take a little longer. Call 478-731-0496 for all your machining needs.
Oh, don't worry. We hit the wrong button again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And the number 95, Rusty's Chase Clendenin here. I think he was the one that was involved in the caution. Did see him in the pits, so we'll take a little replay of what happened. Not too sure, but we will jump over to the far chase, and we will figure it out. So, see if my replay controls are working. Yep. Chase Clendenin in the number 95 gets a little bit loose. Tries to check up for Croak. Seemed like he got loose on the bottom and absolutely tanked it. So, that is all right, though. The car is in the pits, getting worked on currently. He's still in there. We're on the live screen right now. You can see him went in there. Whenever you get a tow on iRacing, I will explain it. You have a little, like a timer. That kind of makes it a little bit more realistic, is the idea behind it. Gives you a timer. Usually you get towed, it takes like a minute and 30 seconds. There are quick repairs on here. If you can make it to the pits and your car is okay, you can go in and you can get a quick repair. But if your car is at the level that you cannot drive, a tire might come off like we just saw in that instance there, and you will have to tow. And usually we wait on the drivers that are in there. Don't want to leave anybody out. So, ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting on Mr. Clendenin, we will take a look at the sponsor page. He's pulling back out on the track now, but we'll go ahead and run through the sponsors. Adrenaline... Oh, excuse me. Started on the wrong side. Dirt Anarchy up in the top left. I just like to start from the bottom, work my way around. Anarchy Custom Wraps and Designs. That's Michael Mitchell. Also does 4M Customs. David Garman over 06 Racing Productions. Buckwheats Customs. Chris Watkins at Adrenaline Spike Designs. He's the number 38 car. I do believe he is the leader. Right now, he may be... Let me take a look. Yep. He is the leader. Okay. Chris Watkins out on pole with Adrenaline Spike Designs. Matthew Nasworthy, NRI Machining, is a caution sponsor also. And my sponsors do include Blueprint Event Rentals and Holbrook's Hometown Pharmacy. We are going to jump back to the live screen. Drivers are out there lined up, ready to go. Clendenin got back out onto the track. Everyone is ready. Chris Watkins, the number 38. He is the car to beat now, up on the pole position. We focus in on Chris right at the right time. Went up there and threw a slider. Green flag's out. Chris Watkins with a huge lead off the jump. Tony Martin looking for a slider on the 53 of Humphreys. Doesn't have the line. Sticks down low. Sprint cars, sprint cars, sprint cars. Gotta love the sound of them. Ian Humphreys moves up into second place. Tony Martin in third. And that is Matthew Nasworthy. Got a new wrap. The 071 Matthew Nasworthy out there in fourth place. Rounding out the top five is Croak. Croak started in the back, worked his way up the field into fifth place, past two drivers. Got sent to the back. Get the UL after winning a couple of races in the league, so I think we are going to have to turn the volume of the sprint cars down a little bit because they are a little bit louder than the late models are. Tony Martin in fourth place. Croak going to move up in front of Tony Martin. Croak's going to work his way up the field, try to chase down these leaders. We are on lap 6 of 30. Quite a bit of racing time left. Coming down and around turn number 1 and number 2. Croak on the inside of the 53 of Ian Humphreys. Chris Watkins still the race leader. Chris Watkins working the high line, a little bit of a cut down line. Matthew Croak getting a run with a slider on the 53 of Humphreys. Croak all the way up in the second place. We're going to follow him all the way up. Looks like he's trying to work on the leader at 38, Chris Watkins now. We will continue to follow Croak. He's a man on a mission in the number 2 car, hanging the low line all the way around the racetrack. That is hard to do in a sprint car with that much horsepower. Here he goes. On the inside line, turn 1 and 2, a little bit of loose, a little bit of rough down there on the bottom line. Looked like he might have had time for a slider there, but Chris Watkins just stomped on it a little too hard. Chris Watkins did a good job closing the door there. We'll see if Chris can hold on to this. 10 laps in to a 35-lap event. Chris Watkins out front, Croak in second, Humphreys in third, Tony Martin in fourth. Matthew Croak down on the low line, inside of Watkins. We got a new race leader. Lap number 11, Croak from the rear to the front in 11 laps. What a feat to accomplish here. USA International, a little bit bigger of a track. But that right there is the man to beat. Number 2, Matthew Croak. We'll focus in on him a little bit. Velocity Race Designs, Phantom Motorsports up on the side wing and on the side of the car. An absolute fantastic job here in the sprint cars so far this season. Been one of the better drivers in the sprint cars that Dirt Anarchy has seen. So it has been absolutely fantastic having Croak part of the league. Sets the bar high for the guys behind him to compete with. So the better drivers you got around you, the better driver you're going to be. That's what I've always told myself. So it's been absolutely fantastic having all the guys in Dirt Anarchy be a part of the league. I've loved every moment of it. I enjoy being around the guys all the time. They're nothing but great to everybody around them. So look like Clendenin pulled down on the track. Not sure what's going on with him in the 95 car. Trying to hang the low line. Might have just been letting everybody get by. But we're back up to the leaders. Chris Watkins trying to find a line to get back up onto the rear end of Matthew Croak. Matthew Croak might have to watch out, though, because that tire wear is going to play a big factor in this race. Croak came from the back to the front. Obviously, he was driving hard. We'll see how much the tire wear does affect him later on. Chris Watkins holding on to the low line now. Matthew Croak bumped all the way up top. We'll take a look back here at the battle for third. Number 53, Ian Humphreys holding on to third place with Tony Martin hot on his trail. Tony Martin getting a decent run out of turn number 4 there past the flag stand. Tony Martin taking the high line. Ian Humphreys running a little bit more of a slider. Tony Martin just trying to work on the line to get around the number 53 Humphreys there to try to secure that podium spot here for the 410 sprint cars in Dirt Anarchy. Ian Humphreys a little loose, coming down the straight stretch. Tony Martin in behind. Tony Martin still going to hang the low line. Can't quite get the run for the straight stretch to get the slider off. Excuse me. A little bit of a stumble up my words there. Look like Matthew Croak may or may not be changing his line up front. He's kind of holding on to the low line a little bit. Chris Watkins was gaining a little. Matthew Croak starting to work the low line a little bit more here now. Maybe the tire wear is getting there a little bit, not too sure. Sprint cars tires usually wear out a little bit quicker than anything else does, so by the end of the race it does get a little hairy when you're in something with that much horsepower with not a lot of grip. Looks like 95 of Clendenin was in the pits. He is coming back out onto the track. Matthew Nasworthy in the 071 sitting in position number 6. Nasworthy, the Cosland sponsor for the league. Absolutely fantastic. Tony Martin in 4th, Ian Humphreys in 3rd. Chris Watkins still sitting in 2nd. A lot of the cars are spread out right now. Matthew Croak's running into lap traffic. Falcon Smith going to dip down to the low line. Let the leader by. Falcon Smith running the low side of the track. Chris Watkins getting a little bit squirrely coming out of turn number 2. Tire wear is starting to play a little bit bigger of a factor now in the sprints. That's a lot of horsepower to be putting down on dirt. Falcon Smith bumping down to the low line for 2nd place. Chris Watkins. Huge spread out gap here tonight. Ian Humphreys and Tony Martin still going on for the battle for 3rd. Ian Humphreys still up into the 3rd place position, but Tony Martin is not letting him walk away with it. This time by the line, we are 24 laps into a 35 lap main event. Tony Martin trying to push the boundaries, trying to get by the 53 of Humphreys. We'll take a look back up at the leaders, see how the leaders are doing. Looks like Croak's going to run into another lapper here. He's got a huge lead on 2nd place Chris Watkins now. Chase Clendenin going to hold the high line all the way down the racetrack. Croak going to get by lap traffic easily here. Not too many of them to contend with, just one car. Chris Watkins still making his way around. In second place, Croak's got a huge lead on Watkins. Ian Humphries in third. Watkins has a huge lead on third and fourth here. Tony Martin looking like he might be trying to make a move. Tony Martin trying everything he can behind that number 53. Ian Humphries just can't find a line around. Hard to get a run on such a big track because you can keep momentum up so high on the low side. Tony Martin down the inside. This might be it. Ian Humphries still getting a better run off the turn. Tony Martin down on the inside. Going to try to throw a slider. Nope. He's going to stick the low line. Oh, burnt the tires off. Ian Humphries is going to maintain in third. Tony Martin, just a little bit too much horsepower down there on the slick part of the bottom of the track. They did change the track textures, I did notice too. The low side where the slick is doesn't look as slick as it used to be. So it is a lot more slick than you thought. Tony Martin still trying to get up into that third place position. We are watching the leader. Chris Watkins in second place all the way up into the wall. That might affect Chris Watkins a little bit. Not sure how his driving is going to be affected by that, but we switched up right at the right time. Chris Watkins jumped up into the wall there. Croak with a huge lead. Chris Watkins here in second. Looks like it didn't affect him too much. Still getting the car around the track, keeping it pretty straight. Might have a little bit of wheel damage, but Chris is going to try to work through it. Hopefully he is all right. 31 laps into a 35-lap event. Chris Watkins, you can definitely tell a little bit different driving coming out of that car now. Rear end's a little bit looser. The front end seems like it's pulling around a little bit. Tire wear could have a lot to do with that, but that little bit of wall contact definitely makes a big difference in these sprint cars with the way that they're lined up and how they're aligned. Chris Watkins still getting loose. Ian Humphries right behind Chris Watkins. Tony Martin getting loose as well coming out of the turn. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a caution out. We will be right back.
Brought to you by NRI Machining, located in Macon, Georgia. The difficult we do right away, the impossible will take a little longer. Call 478-731-0496 for all your machining needs.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't pay attention to me. I hit the wrong button once again, but that's okay. We've got the 071 of Matthew Nasworthy. That caution is going to be on him. We'll back it up a little bit. Looked like he just entered the turn a little bit too high and took a little joyride up on the wall, up on the catch fence. But we're going to take a look at the replay. We'll check it out. Nasworthy coming in a little hot up on the high side. Didn't get turned in quite. Whoa, right by the camera. Nasworthy's going to be up on his lid and rolled over. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll hop back to the live screen. Look like Nasworthy may have towed. Chris Watkins, where he wrecked, is going to go in and get a quick repair. That will mean that he will lose his spot. So that might have just pushed out your P2 driver back to the back. So the man out front doing wheelies. You guys seen it. He's out here popping wheelies. Matthew Croak had a fantastic run tonight. He had at least a straight stretch, maybe a straight stretch and a turn lead on second place. And he's absolutely found a groove in the sprint cars here tonight. Matthew Croak's always fast. Had to start in the back tonight, worked all the way from the back all the way up to front. So, great job out of him. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a look at the sponsor page real quick while we are here waiting. We will be right back. All right, Nasworthy's back out onto the track. We'll take a look at the sponsors. Anarchy Custom Wraps and Designs, OSEG Racing Productions, Buckwheats Custom, 4M Customs, Adrenaline Spike Designs, and NRI Machining. I do not have 54 Motorsports on there. I will find time to put Terry Boswell and 54 Motorsports up here. Terry Boswell does a lot for the league. Absolute fantastic guy. Always good to have Terry in your corner. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I do think we're about to take off. One to green. Croak out front with a good lead off the start. Ian Humphries and the 53 working in behind him. Chris Watkins went in and got a repair on the car, so I had to go back to the back. So the top three changes up a little bit. Croak's going to be out front. Humphries is going to be in second. And Tony Martin's going to be in third. Driver's coming around now. Lap 34. Next time by, white flag will be out. There they go. Matthew Croak out front. Ian Humphreys in second. Tony Martin in third. Looks like Chris Watkins got up into the wall in the back. White flag is out. Matthew Croak with a comfortable lead coming down the back stretch. Number 2 machine. There he goes. Velocity Race Design. Phantom Motorsports. Checkered flag is out. Matthew Croak's going to take it leapfrog right there on the front. That is your race winner for the 410 sprints at USA International. Second place goes to Ian Humphreys. Excellent job here tonight out of all the drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go and get these interviews underway. We'll take a look at the sponsor page while I'm going to do that. Thank you all for coming out. Let's go get these interviews. Ladies and gentlemen, in the booth with me, I have your race winner for the 410 sprints. What a fantastic finish, Matthew Croak. How'd it go, man?
Setup was really tricky. Track is really bumpy out of the corners, so that was kind of throwing, I think, everybody for a loop there. But overall, it was pretty good race.
Yeah, I know early on you did great in the heat race. Had a fantastic finish. I knew you were going to be quick here tonight. So it's always great to watch you in the sprint cars. But you went to the back. That was for what? It was EOL for winning the last couple races, right? One of the league rules.
Yeah, one of the league rules is if you win, I think it's 2 races in a row, you start the next race in the back. And luckily, I shouldn't say luckily, but the fields haven't been too big and a lot of clean drivers. So it was fun making the way up to the back of the field, even with the tricky bumps going into the turns. It was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. But overall, it was pretty good.
Yeah, USA International is always kind of a weird track to drive. I feel like every time I'm on it, it's a little different. Like the lines are a little different. But I'm not really too avid in sprint cars, but late models and dirt street stocks have always been a little bit funky whenever I come out here on this track.
Yeah, and honestly, this was my first time running the new update on this track. So it was really interesting to see how it slicked off and where the lines were going to be. I knew kind of right when the race started, I thought it was going to be up in the middle, right where the marbles were, but I hit the bottom in practice just to test it, and down there was a lot of grip down there. So I went down there for the first little chunk of the race, and from there it was smooth sailing.
Yeah, I was going to ask too. I was talking about it during the broadcast. Have you noticed anything with the track texture being any different where the slick is?
I've noticed a little bit. It's honestly a lot harder to see it now, in my opinion. Some tracks just don't slick off like they used to, so you really can't tell where it is. And then once you find it, you start losing your rear end a lot more than what it should be.
Yeah, that was the other thing I noticed too. And then whenever you are in the slick, it actually plays a lot more under tire wear than I thought it did too. Because I kind of went in some test sessions and ran myself, and I noticed that I would run in the slick and my tire wear would decrease a lot more in 10 laps than it would if I was running up in the tack.
Yeah, and honestly, I felt like I was saving a lot of tire in that race, but I don't really think I was. I think I had like 60% on the right rear here. So
Well,
overall, it was a little not really saving it, but I guess what can you do?
I mean, in sprint cars, that kind of is saving it. But I was saying also, you had to drive from the back of the pack all the way up to the front. So you had to be on it pretty hard for the first 11 laps. I think on lap 11, you took the lead. So I knew going into it that you would be a little bit hard on the tires. But you pulled out a win here tonight, man. You did an absolute fantastic job. So good job, man.
Yeah, thank you. I don't run with a mirror now, so I don't really know how far back they were. So I was just kind of biding my time and trying not to slow down too much, but not also kill my tires. So
Yeah. Well, you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
yeah, first off, I have to thank you for the broadcast each and every week. Brandon for putting on the league, Weichel Sportswear, M9 Setups, Phantom Motorsports, Power Outdoors, Velocity Race Designs, and RK Farms.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your P1 finisher for tonight. Matthew Croak, absolute fantastic job, man.
Yep, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go down and grab the next person for the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, in the booth with me, I have your P2 finisher in Dirt Anarchy's 410 sprints at USA International, Ian Humphreys. Ian, great race, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed early on, whenever I looked at the format, there was an invert two. Usually just the top two doesn't make that big of a difference, but you did a fantastic job. You were starting out front here tonight, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you did a good job holding on to the race car. I know you and Tony had a little bit of a battle out there for third. Chris Watkins kind of ran away with it for a little bit in second place, but ended up catching back up to him. I think it was on one of the restarts, and you did an excellent job holding on to the car here tonight. So.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I felt good, and it was a good battle with Tony. He definitely was knocking on the door there a couple times, so I was definitely waiting for the execution. And just felt like he kind of fell a little short with the inside getting super slick, especially towards the end of that run there. So.
Yeah, I was noticing it's really hard to get a line, especially on a bigger track like this is. You run the high line, you got the run. You go to throw a slider, you bump down to the low line, you just can't get the run on the car in front of you. But definitely a good job defensive driving out of you. Just holding the same line the entire time definitely helps, and it makes it a lot harder to get by somebody when they're hitting the quick line. So you did a great job holding on to P2, man.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I was talking to Croak a little bit about it, about the track texture, kind of the way that it looks. I didn't know if you'd notice anything different about the way that this slick looks now compared to how it used to on the update.
Yeah, a little bit. It doesn't seem to, I guess, necessarily kind of glisten or shine off like it did before, even though it's supposed to be more drastic and where you can see it up front more now. So I don't know if they've kind of just changed it with maybe the lighting at some of these tracks, depending on where it's at. But yeah, something that definitely seems to be a little bit off with it.
Yeah, because I could tell that like the low line, the super low line was in pretty good early on in the race, and then the middle line and the middle low line kind of like washed out. But on the track, it still looked like it had some tack in it. But driving the car, I could tell that you guys were just spinning tires. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of different things to get used to on the update. But I think you and all the other drivers in the league have been doing a great job of adapting to it and just overcoming it and putting on a good show for the fans.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but I think we're finally getting the hang of it. So I'm hoping to only progress from here. Thankfully, most of this week I've picked up a good amount of I rating back, finally back almost 2,600. So keep some positive gains going, hopefully, and hopefully get some more seat time.
Heck yeah, man. All right, you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Let's go with Marconi Setup Shop at Drill and Spike Designs, Upgrade Supplements, Extreme Sim Racing, and Iracing iFlag, and all you guys that tune in to watch the broadcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your P2 finisher here tonight, number 53, Ian Humphreys. Ian, great job.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go down and grab P3, and that will be our last person for the interview. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, in the booth with me, your P3 finisher number 22, Tony Martin. Tony, great job.
Hey, thank you.
I noticed a little bit of a battle going on there for fourth at one point in time, I think, and then third with Ian Humphreys. You guys definitely put on a good show here tonight. I focused on you guys quite a bit. It's just a little bit bigger of a track, hard to get a run whenever you got to try to go down to the low line, but you did an excellent job of holding on to it. So tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, it was a good race overall. I just kind of kept catching Ian at the wrong spots and try to make a move down low, and you want to get on the throttle, but it get to be a little too much and just kind of slip and slide down there. So I'd have to back off and take another run at him, and he did a good job holding me off though. We stayed clean and green.
Yeah, I was talking to the other two drivers, Croak and Humphreys, about the track texture, kind of the way that the track looks, and I've kind of noticed myself that I can't really tell where the slick is 100% anymore. It's kind of like you can feel it, but you can't really tell where it is. It looks like the texture of the track's just a little bit different.
Yeah, it's really the tires that are going to let you know.
Yeah, that was the other thing too, was tire wear. The sprint cars definitely plays a bigger role. I notice when I drive a late model 30 laps, I'm usually around 70 or 80% tread left on my tires, and whenever I hop in a sprint car and I run 30 laps, it's like 50 to 60. But it's definitely played a big
it's
role.
about right.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's a little bit harder, but you got to think about the horsepower difference in them. They are a little more lightweight, so they're probably not grabbing as much traction. They're definitely burning a lot more rubber than the other cars are, so it's something you got to watch out for.
For sure.
Yeah, Tony, tell us a little bit about Smoky Designs by Andy. I know that he's been in the chat a couple times. Who was it again?
He's my brother, yeah.
Yeah, give a little shout out segment to them. I kind of want to know more about them.
All right, Smoky Designs by Andy. He can basically take any picture that you send him, and he can burn the image into a little plank of wood, and you kind of have it forever at that point.
It's pretty neat. Yeah, that's not too bad.
He does a burner and a laser. He can use either one.
There we go. Where can we find them at?
I don't have that information on me right now.
Well, we'll get it at a later point in time. I definitely want to get in contact with him. That's pretty cool. So I mean, we'll get that information some point down the road. But excellent job.
But you can always look him up on Facebook and Instagram.
All right then. All right. Excellent job out of Tony Martin here tonight. Tony, I know we already brought up Smoky Designs by Andy, but go ahead and give your shout out and your thank yous to anybody you got out there supporting you.
Well, thanks to Brandon and the league, and of course you for putting on the show. And I guess I got to start thanking. Sorry, I lost my track there. Adrenaline Spike Designs. He made my new wrap for the late model. I was hoping to get to talk to you earlier, but just missed out a little bit on that race.
Yeah, I did see the new wrap, and I absolutely love it. It looks fantastic, man.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your P3 finisher, Tony Martin. Tony, excellent job tonight, man.
All right, thank you, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the end of the show. If you guys came out, thank you so much for coming. We'll take a look at the sponsor page real quick before we leave. Anarchy Custom Wraps and Designs, 06 Racing Productions, Buckwheats Customs, Forum Customs, Adrenaline Spike Designs, and NRI Machining. 54 Motorsports is not up on the screen, but it is Terry Bonswell. He's one of the sponsors of the league. My sponsors do include Blueprint, Vent Reynolds, and Holbrook's Hometown Pharmacy. If you guys came out for the broadcast, thank you so much for coming out. This is the 410 Sprint Cars of Dirt Anarchy. We're here every Sunday with the late models and the 410s, and we're here on Tuesdays with the Dirt Street Stocks, I do believe, and the 358s, I think. Saturdays is the UMPs. But ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming out. Let us know how you found the stream, how you found the broadcast down in the comments below. Whether you're on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, we are on all three platforms.